In politics, philosophy, science, and religion, many are attached to certain aspects of the truth and make their own lives a desperate battlefield in order to defend their point of views, whereas they are really just prisoners of their own point of view. Many accept the truth, spread its teachings, advocate its cause, and proclaim its merits. However, the truth that sets us free is that which we come to know in our incessant activity for the eternal good. To grasp the truth is to comprehend our responsibilities. To discern the truth is to renew our own understanding and make our life a field of responsibility for what is best. Truth can be found only in our submission to a duty faithfully fulfilled. Therefore, to know the truth is to realize the meaning of life. And to realize the meaning of life is to grow in service and constant self-perfection. Thus, examine your position before the light. Those who only glimpsed at the dazzling glory of this reality talk much but do little. On the other hand, those who grasp its indefinable grandeur do much and talk little. Let's do our initial prayer. Let's close our eyes. Take a deep breath. Let's try and leave all our worries, our problems to the side for this 1 hour that we have today. Dear Father, dear Jesus, we thank you for one more day that we have come here to learn, to coexist with our friends, brothers, sisters. We thank you for the learning opportunity you give us every single day, and today especially for the opportunity we have to study together, to ask, to answer, to have healthy dialogues about Jesus' lessons, his teachings, and his examples. We ask that our spiritual mentors in life is gathering here today, that they bless us and help us listen, feel, truly understand and comprehend the teachings of our model and God. So all right. So today is actually part 2 of one lecture that we had part 1 on the first weekend of September, first Sunday of September, and we were not able to finish. So we're doing part 2. Was anybody here first time? Awesome. Okay, so you can help. We are not gonna skip to the second part, so we're gonna review the first part with everybody first, and then we're gonna keep going to the end. So the title today is "Where This Error Led Me So True." How do I feel when I'm facing my own mistakes? Is that familiar? Where there's error led me so true. Does that sound familiar? Does that sentence sound familiar from somewhere to anybody? It is part of the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi, São Francisco de Assis. Okay? And this lecture was taken from this book, A Sublime Oração de Francisco de Assis. Okay, Francis of Assisi's sublime prayer. And in his prayer, this is one of the verses of the prayer. So we're going to quickly look at the prayer and keep going. Okay, so in his prayer, St. Francis says, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Does everybody know what the word sow is? No? No? It's when you plant a seed. Okay? In English, we reap what we sow. Nós plantamos o que colhemos. Okay? So to sow is to plant a seed. So St. Francis is praying and he's asking God, where there is hatred, let me sow love. Let me plant the seed of love. Where there is offense, let me sow pardon. Where there is discord, let me sow union. Where there is error, let me sow truth, which is the one we're talking about today. Where there is doubt, let me sow faith. Where there is despair, let me sow hope. Where there is darkness, let me sow light. Where there is sadness, let me sow joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we're born to eternal life. So it's a very profound, very beautiful prayer. And today we're going to talk specifically about where there is error, let me sow truth. So when St. Francis says, where there is error, let me sow truth, what kind of error is it talking about? What kind of mistake is it talking about? Our simple everyday mistakes, like turning right when we should turn left.
Moral mistakes?
Like getting a cake recipe wrong. That kind of error, that kind of mistake. What kind of mistake is it talking about? Okay, I'm gonna help you with the next question. Helps you. Is it talking about circumstantial or existential errors? Existential. So can we see the difference between treating somebody badly and making a mistake in a cake recipe? Can everybody see the difference? So circumstantial errors or mistakes are daily things that we just go back and fix, but have no moral consequences. Now the existential mistakes, they are connected to moral consequences. Like having prejudice, treating somebody badly. Some of our egotistic feelings like pride, like selfishness. Okay, so these are the errors he's talking about. So we have already got to that conclusion. So when we talk about error, like I said, this was all taken from this book by Alírio Cerqueira Filho. And in the book, Alírio identifies that the existential error, the moral mistake, is kind of a vicious cycle. So let's understand this vicious cycle. How can a moral mistake be a cycle? So let's understand. So first, what's the origin of this existential error? Error is originated in the feeling of doubt when implicitly or explicitly the person doubts their condition of essential being, immortal spirit and evolution, God's child. So the origin of my moral errors, the origin of my moral mistakes lie in the fact that I don't feel like I belong in the universe. I'm here by chance. What am I doing here? Because when we understand that we are immortal spirits in evolution, all of us are God's children. When we understand that we are divine essence, we are not our mistakes, we understand that the mistakes we make should be the base for our learning. What am I going to do with that mistake? Shove it in my pocket like it never happened and keep going? Or is it a starting point for me to change something? Like, for example, a prejudice that I have. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? Yeah. If it doesn't, please stop me, okay? Then, after the origin, let's look at the cause. What causes that moral mistake? The cause for error is illusion. When a person believes they are just the ego and not an existential being, apprentice of life in the process of evolution. So let's understand what this means. The person believes that they are just the ego. Two, are we here now and when we die, we're done? Everything over, finished, game over? No. This is only one. Yes. This is only one of our many, 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 many existences. So what he's saying here is, what is this illusion that we are just the ego? This illusion is when we believe, it's when I believe I am permanent, forever, Renata. I am brunette, forever, permanently. I am a teacher. I am an admin assistant. I love food. I am a mom. Thank you. So when this is just an illusion. This is just my persona in this reincarnation. But when we believe that this is what we are permanently, okay, and I can say this because in Spanish it's the same thing. The verb to be is actually split in two in Portuguese and in Spanish. Ser and estar. Ser is to be when it means it is what it is. It's permanent. And estar is just a state. It's temporary. It's going to pass. So when we believe that we are our ego permanently, that's an illusion. Because it's not. Our essence, the essential being, is here. What is dressing the essential being is my persona. So I am an immortal spirit, and I am temporarily, I'm temporarily a mom, I'm temporarily a teacher. Because I wasn't all of this before, and I might not be this in the future. So this illusion that we are permanently this that we see and feel right here, right now, that's the cause for the moral error. Okay, did it make sense? So when we believe that, and not that we are existential beings, apprentice of life in the process of evolution, then we take our mistakes, put in our pockets, and keep going. Yes, sweep it under the rug, right? And leave it there. Is it going to stay there forever? At some point, we're going to have to face it. So let's keep going. Circumstantial errors and successes, because sometimes we only focus on the mistakes. We only focus on the errors. But no, we succeed. Many times we succeed. But the circumstantial ones, circumstantial errors and successes, are part of the daily life of an apprentice of life. So if I get the recipe right or wrong, if I follow my GPS, or if I don't want to ask for directions because I know everything, if I get there or if I don't get there. So these are daily lessons that we have. The existential error is more profound. Again, it's not connected to moral. It's, I repeat, it's some kind of prejudice I have against a race, a gender, certain professions, for example. Oh, I hate, I don't know, lawyers. I hate judges, anything. So that, politicians, yeah. So that is an existential error. It's not like a daily life thing. It's a lot more profound. It has roots, okay? And we have to address them. This is why Francis did not say, where there is error, let me sow success. Did you pay attention to the prayer? Because he always does the opposites, right? Where there's darkness, let me sow light. Where there's sadness, let me sow joy. Where there is injury, let me sow pardon. What's the opposite of a mistake? Or an error? Success. Why doesn't he want to sow success?
Success is a circumstantial state as well.
Close to that. Close to that. Success is the result.
Good attitudes, good thoughts.
Is the result of me understanding, comprehending, feeling, and experiencing the truth. I can't. The successes that I have that are, yeah, I did it, but I have no idea how or why, then it's not a success. Because we don't truly understand that success. For it to become success, it is a result of my actions when I am following the divine laws, when I am developing using my virtues. Okay? So that's why he didn't say, where there is error, let me sow success. He said truth. Because not being able to accept that they are God's child, an apprentice of life, is the biggest mistake that a human being can make. Apprentice, aprendiz. So when we don't accept that we are God's children, that we belong in the universe, that we're not abandoned, we were not created and kicked to the side. When we don't accept that, when we don't have that understanding, that's the biggest mistake we can make. What do you think? What do you think that's a mistake? Isn't it like I am what I am, I believe what I believe? That's it?
I think if we have a time to think every single day about our day, what you did good, what you did bad, what can I change, how can I change it to be better tomorrow? Every single day we do this exercise. I think step by step we are starting to understand ourselves and understand our difficult, the way how to manage that and try to be that every single day.
Yes.
And I think that's the big lesson to us every single day, because the small attitudes cause a big.
But do you think that always, inevitably, will lead you to feeling you're God's child, you're an apprentice of life, you are a citizen of the universe, you belong in here, you're not here by chance?
I think we learn with our mistakes every single day, but you need to have a conscience about that.
Okay.
You need to pay attention and identify the problem and try to change that. This attitude, this thought, this way to live. Yeah. But we don't have a conscience for everything all the time, you know.
At this stage, we're working on it. We're working on it. Yes. Okay. So what we're gonna see next is gonna help us understand why it's a mistake. Why it's the biggest mistake we can make is when we don't feel like we are God's children. So let us reflect. If I bring the truth to the existential error, that is, to the illusion that I am my ego, what will my attitude before circumstantial errors be? So again, we're talking about existential and circumstantial. So when we're talking about existential error, so if I bring the truth, what is the truth? Not there. What is the truth? Why is it with a capital T? Is it like an expose on God or Jesus? What is the truth? Remember we read, Jesus said, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. What truth? What truth does Saint Francis of Assisi want to sow?
You're God's child.
It's part of it. It's wider than that.
Very well.
Exactly. The truth he's talking about is the divine laws, universal laws. The laws that rule the universe. Moral, physical, biological laws.
The truth resides on the divine laws.
Yes, thank you. So this is the truth he's talking about. So when Saint Francis says, where there is error, let me sow truth. If we bring the truth to the essential error, for example, that prejudice we talked about, to the illusion that we are this persona that is reincarnated right here, right now, what will my attitude be before circumstantial errors? How will I see my making a mistake on a recipe or going the wrong direction? Will they be something big? Will they be something that should really ruin my day or my month? There's a girl who works with me, and right in the beginning of September, her dog, who had been sick for months and months and months, ended up dying. And she comes to me and she's really down and sad and crying, which is completely understandable. We love our pets. But she looks at me and she's like, there, September, that was probably September 1st or something. It's like there, September is gone. It's completely ruined. I know I will have the most horrible September of my life. Oh. This is not talking about a mistake or error, but just the attitude towards daily things that
How to see the situation.
exactly.
With an optimistic or...
Yeah, I can't remember if it was you, Marcia, who was here talking about the lady on the elevator when we did part 1. We had someone when we did it last time. Was it you? I can't remember. When we did it last time, someone gave us an example of, like, they went downtown and right in the morning they got an elevator with a lady, and the lady pressed the wrong button on the elevator. Simple circumstantial mistake. And then the lady looks at him and she's like, there, great day to start the day. Now my whole day is ruined because of one button that she pressed for the wrong floor. Right? Do we know people like this? Have we ever, don't answer, have we ever had this attitude? So again, when we put into perspective and see the difference between circumstantial error and existential error, when I understand what is an existential error, when I think about the truth, when I think about the universal laws, we're pressing a wrong elevator button, ruin my day, my attitude towards life changes. And like Bianca said, part of the truth, feeling like I'm God's child, like I belong in the universe, like I have a purpose here, that is so much bigger than the small daily things we do. We start living our lives completely different. Lightly, softly, completely different from focusing on only the circumstances. It will be acceptable of my condition of apprentice of life, who evolves through errors and successes that I transform into learning experiences. Do we learn from mistakes? Can we learn from successes too? Every time? Do we learn from mistakes every time?
To pay attention.
But just speaking in general, just in general. Not always. What about successes? Do we learn from successes every time?
In a physical like a baby.
Can you think of an example when we are successful and we didn't learn a thing?
When we win the lottery.
I never
That's a huge trial. I will give you an example that actually connects everything we're talking about. So an example of being successful and not learning, for example, is when I give the fact that I am very intelligent, when I think about that as it's because I was born smart. My mother gave me biotônico fontor. I think you guys didn't have that. It was something to open kids' appetite. Some of us are the size we are nowadays because of that. I always love to blame it. I always love it to blame it. It's not my fault that I eat. Okay? So, this is another example, right? I'm overweight. Whose fault is it? But this is the mistake. Whose fault is it? Oh, it's my mom's fault because she gave me that darn thing, and now I eat like crazy. My free will has nothing to do
She
with
made
it.
you agree you needed to eat and be a little bit oversized to be healthy.
Yes. But I just transferred the blame, and it's not me. It's her fault. It's the medicine's fault. It's whoever's fault. Everybody's but mine, right? But going back to the success. I am smart. I get a great job. This is all me. Right here, right now. I'm Renata. I rock. I'm the best. There's no higher intelligence. There is nothing behind it. The effort my parents made to pay good school for me, it's me. It's Renata. I am the sole and only cause of my success. That's an example of success where we haven't learned a dang thing. Right? Because why? Again, because we think we are this ego. We think we are this persona. We don't have the understanding that the intelligence I have in this life, it's a fruit of all my previous incarnations, where I have been developing my intelligence gradually. What I am right here, right now, is the result of everything I've been through added up to this very moment, right? Including all the help I got from everybody around me. So when I get a wonderful job and I say, I rock, and it's all on me, it's my merit, nobody else's. That's a good example of success where we haven't learned anything. We're not thankful to parents, to chances we had in life, or whatever.
Experience.
Okay, so that's one example that ties up what we're talking about, feeling an apprentice of life, understanding that we are the sum of everything we've ever done ever since the moment we were created. Okay? So we're still talking about the vicious cycle, and it's already 11:35, so let's keep going. So what's the movement? What are the actions? What's involved here? Existential error leads us to build a persona resulting from the egotistic illusions. The illusions that we are this persona, this ego. We were nothing before, we won't be anything after. In reality, most of the time, we manifest not what we are within, but our state, building consciously or subconsciously a character, which is our ego manifesting itself as if it were the real being. So our ego are like the clothes we put on, and we sell that as who we are. That's not who we are. Who we are is our essential being. This persona, this intelligence or lack of intelligence, this body, thin, fat, they are all opportunities for learning. They are not what I am permanently. They are my present state, which was different before and will be different in the future. This egotistic manifestation is related to the limiting beliefs and values that we nurture, creating the way we see others, the way we see others, other people's lives, the way we see other people's lives and our own. So these limiting beliefs are all the things that we believe for example, I think we are all Latinos here. So we see on the news, a car was stolen. Oh, it must be a Latin gang. Or we see someone that is not parked well. I'm sure it's a woman. Or, oh, I don't want to work with women because they can't not do the same kind of work. Or a girl who says, I don't want to date because there's no honest man on earth. These are all limiting beliefs and values that we feed within ourselves, we nurture, we believe that, and we act like that's true. And we apply that to other people too, and we don't care if they have the same beliefs. We just put them in classifications, we classify, we put them in buckets, and that's where they belong. I don't want to belong in any bucket because I'm way better than anybody else, but everybody else is in buckets. So these are our limiting beliefs and values. These are the beliefs and values that stop us from treating each other the way we would like to be treated. The values that stop us from fulfilling the greatest law, the law of love, justice, and charity, and many other divine laws. The absence of reflections on the truth and deepening of the transcendence makes the person believe that they are their name, their social status, their profession, that they are from that city, from that country. We are temporarily, not permanent. It's just a state in this reincarnation. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah, any questions? All right. So the characteristics are just these characteristics of our people, so our nationality, profession, social status, name, physical shape. So these are just temporary, circumstantial structure and should not be confused with essential, existential matters. All the things we need to work on, all the virtues we need to develop. When we confuse this ego, this persona, this character that we built with our essential being, that leads us to the existential states. I will treat somebody from a race that I don't trust or don't like or that I have a preconception about differently than I am going to treat someone from my own country that I admire. Aren't we all brothers and sisters in spirit? Does that make sense? Where the existential error comes from? Application. The error manifests through lies, through hypocrisy. The person lies to themselves and to others in the dimension of thinking, in the dimension of feeling, and in the dimension of existing. So, for example, when we talk about stereotypes, all Asians drive badly. All Latins cannot be trusted. Because when you turn your face, they're going to pick your pocket. All Vietnamese ladies can only do nails. Those are stereotypes. Have we ever heard that? Have we ever said that? There's no need to answer. Just let's think to ourselves, right? So and it starts with the dimension of thinking. So that's where, in my mind, I put the person in the bucket. Then, in the dimension of feeling, every time I see a Vietnamese lady, my mind goes immediately to, oh, I need to redo my nails. Every time I see a woman driving, I'm gonna I'm gonna change 2 lanes to the right because I want to stay far away. These don't look like they really matter, that they're really important. But those are limiting beliefs that lead us to try and break the divine laws, right? And then it comes to the dimension of existing. So from thinking to feeling to existing, when I change lanes. So my actions reflect that limiting belief. The stereotype that I even made up myself or bought from someone else at face value without thinking about it, right? Okay, now we've seen the vicious cycle. Let's look at the constructive, virtuous cycle of truth. We always talk about vicious cycle. Let's start talking about virtuous cycle, which is a lot healthier and will actually get us somewhere much better. So, when Jesus says, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Does Jesus say that knowing the truth will set us free? So if I know the whole Bible, if I know the Spirit's book backwards, if I know all the liturgy in the church, if I know the Quran, if I know all of those by heart, will that set me free? Do we know that prejudice is wrong? Do we know we should not make racist jokes? Does that stop us from thinking, from having the prejudice, from laughing at those jokes that we know are not okay? We just say it's me. Right? So it's not knowing the truth. It's the truth. It's living through the divine laws. It's fulfilling the divine laws. It's developing the virtues that will set us free. The whole idea of, pressing the button, ruining your day, versus the idea of, I have so many things to accomplish in life. Why would I care if I went to one wrong floor? The view is so much broader. Right? So the origin of the virtue cycle. The truth is originated in the feeling of unshakable faith, through which the person seeks to identify themselves with the essential being in a process of self-knowledge and knowledge of the universal truth, and reflecting upon the divine laws, drawing themselves closer to the divine love within them, and consequently drawing themselves closer to God. So, when my faith is unshakable, is there room for, I'm not sure if I should help someone from a race that I think is beneath me? There's no room for that kind of thought, right? When my faith is unshakable, when I feel, when I know, understand comprehend and feel in my heart that we are all brothers and sisters. Slowly, it's not a switch we turn on and off. Slowly, we keep going back to our conscience. I laugh at the racist joke, and then I stop and I think, hey, had it been about Brazilians, women, moms, would I have liked it? So it's just awakening our conscience slowly, right? So when we try to identify ourselves with the essential being that we are, self-knowledge, why do I not like that person? Why do I have this feeling towards that race? Why do I feel like I have or can't do something? So first we need to know ourselves, like Saint Augustine says in question 919, know thyself. So self-knowledge comes first. Knowledge of the universal truth, investigating, understanding the divine laws, why they are what they are. Why do I have to fulfill that law? What's that going to bring to me? What does that mean in my life? So when I have that, when I reflect upon the divine laws and what they do for me, at this moment, I am drawing myself close to the divine love within me, because it is in me, it's a seed that I need to sow, to water, to nurture, so that it grows. It's in here, but it's a seed. It's a seed. And it depends on me. It's my part to nourish that seed so that it grows into a beautiful tree. And consequently, we're drawing ourselves close to God. Did that make sense? What's the cause? The cause of the truth is the certainty that we are God's children. This certainty is achieved by the feeling of apprentice of life, who is in the process of evolving, in search of the truth, so that this truth, felt in our hearts, or their hearts, everybody's, can set them free. Only feeling that in our hearts will set us free. It's not knowing it by heart. It's not memorizing words that will set us free. It's feeling that truth in our hearts that will set us free. That will give us true peace of mind. Not the peace of the world. We see the peace of the world the moment when nothing bad happens. That's not true peace. That's the peace of the world. The true peace of mind is the peace that sets us free. The peace that we have when we are certain, when we know, when we don't doubt that we're God's children, apprentice of life, who learns from errors and from successes. Right? So in this phase, there's no room for disagreement, for doubt about how the laws work. We understand, we feel that loving myself and loving my neighbors in a biblical sense is amazing for me. It fills me with joy. And it's a much different joy from when I buy shoes, or a car, or anything material for that matter, right? So this is the phase, the stage, when we have already reaped. Remember, you reap what you sow, você colhe o que você planta. We have already reaped, we have already harvested some benefits from those virtues, from some other laws that we are constantly working on, trying to fulfill. And then the moment we collect a few benefits, we feel this is the way. And I want to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'm going to investigate. And this is going to get better and better and better. What's the movement? In building the truth, the person initiates the knowledge of reasoned truth. Not it is because it is. It is because it's in the Bible. It is because it's in the Quran. It is because it's in the Spirit's book. There's no it is because it is. It is reasoned. We need to investigate. We need to understand. What is the law of reproduction? What does it mean to me? How does it work? What's my part in that law? Using their reason and common sense in order for the truth to be reflected in their lives and felt within them. Everything that somebody wants to shove down our throats, it is because it is. Believe it because I told you or you're going to be punished. How can that cause unshakable faith? How can that awaken the divine that is already within us as a potential that we need to develop? So we need to think. We need to reason the truth, investigate, ask questions, use our common sense. Because when somebody says, oh, it's meant to be, it is because it is. No such thing. Let's use our common sense and find in another law the explanation for that. Everything has an explanation. We need to investigate to find that explanation. So when we reflect that truth in our lives, we start to feel. It's not just knowing or memorizing. It's understanding. And then we start to feel because it makes sense. How can I love something I don't understand? How can I love something that doesn't make sense? So from these three movements, and let's go back and see what the movements are. So here we're talking about reasoning with common sense, reflect, and fear. So know, reflect to understand and make sense, and then fear. Okay? So from these three movements, know, reflect to understand, and fear, the truth is understood. So we're talking about here comprehension. Not I understand the words. I understand their deeper meaning. In order to free ourselves from the egotistic illusion. Because when I go deep and I understand all of that, I don't have the illusion that I will be Renata forever, divorced forever, mother forever, always to the same two kids. That illusion just goes away. It dissipates. And I broaden my horizon, and I start to understand that my purpose is a lot higher than that. But the circumstantial, the common daily things are the tools I use to get to my higher purpose. They are the steps that I go up in order to get there. They are the road I travel to get to my destination. Without them, I cannot get to my destination. I need them. But I need to understand that they are just the tools. They are not the journey itself. They just help me on the journey to get there. And we will feel we are cosmic beings, citizens of the universe, God's children. We will know our places here. We will not feel abandoned. We will not feel like we were created and left here to suffer. That feeling is going to go away, and faith is going to replace it. This search will also generate authenticity. Ta-da! That's the virtue of the month. So we're talking about the truth, right? Right? So that's also connected to being authentic. The character that we build in this incarnation, the ego, many times we are so focused on pleasing others or pleasing our own desires, many times material desires. We're so focused on that we lose authenticity. We lose our essence, who we truly are inside. So again, we can only get to that authenticity through reflection, self-knowledge. Being authentic is not saying whatever I want, whenever I want, because I'm sincere, and I'll say what I want when I want. Many times that's actually rudeness, not authenticity, depending on how we say it. It doesn't have to be rude, but depending on how we say it, it is. But authenticity is being true to our essence. Not just letting everybody know my opinion about every single thing. Been there, done that. Personal example. Always had to have the last word. Always had to be right. Nobody knew more than me. But again, when you look at the truth and at our purpose, all of these little things, they become even smaller. And they take the backstage, not front stage. So this search will also generate authenticity because they know who they are, an immortal spirit in the process of evolving, no more, no less, no better, no worse than anybody else. I am an immortal spirit in the process of evolution. I am unique. Nobody else has the same experiences. Nobody else has the same feelings. Nobody else has the same impulses or instincts. It's just me in billions and billions and trillions, gazillions of spirits in the universe. I am the only me. I am not the only Renata, because this is just the persona for this stage for right now. But I am the only me in spirit. Nobody else has traveled the exact same journey. So when I understand that, and I am in the process of evolving, and sometimes I will use my tools well. I will use the wrong elevator buttons, the losing a pet, the deciding not to laugh at a racist joke. Sometimes I will use those tools well, and I will learn from the mistake. And sometimes I won't. We are not in a perfect world. We are not in a happy world yet. We are evolving. We're going in that direction. So accepting the mistakes that we make, embracing the mistakes in the sense, like not punishing ourselves, but in the sense of, okay, I made a mistake, and it was not that my cake went wrong. I did something that if someone had done it to me, it would have hurt. So it's not punishing myself. It's embracing myself and understanding. I made that mistake. However, I know now that it was a mistake. And I will try not to make that mistake again. And I will do better next time. How can I repair that mistake? Many times it's not making up to the person, because when we make mistakes, it's within ourselves. Sometimes we can make up to the person, sometimes we can't, but we will try to repair that, maybe by not doing it again, maybe by trying to change the way we think slowly, because again, it's not a switch and flip. From today on, I have no more prejudice against anybody. It would be great if it worked like that, but it doesn't. It's gradual and slowly, and we need to accept, and that's part of self-love. We can't love ourselves if we hate ourselves every 5 seconds because we made a mistake. So we need to accept ourselves, to embrace the mistake and repeat to ourselves, I am God's child. I am an apprentice of life. I made a mistake, but I am trying to do better. So because they are fully, they meaning us, all of us, spirits, because we all spirits are fully aware that the divine laws are present in their life, always guiding them to happiness and plenitude. If we have that, if we really not just know in words, but if we understand what it means in our lives, the results we collect from that benefit, then we feel the happiness and plenitude. And again, it's not the same happiness, because it's not happiness when we travel to a place we wanted, when we do something we wanted. That happiness is not about doing, having. It's about being. It's about our feelings. And what's the application? The truth is manifested through authenticity in the dimension of thinking, feeling, and existing. In the dimension of thinking, it's when we redefine our limiting beliefs based on the universal truth, and we will feel we are cosmic beings, citizens of the universe, God's children. The repetition is not by accident, okay? So we redefine those limiting beliefs. I understand that it's a prejudice. I understand that not all the people from that race are destined to do this, to be this. So I redefine that belief. Yes. Actually, I only have two more.
They have something to present.
Perfect. I only have two more left. So in the dimension of feeling, the redefined beliefs, so I redefine it. Then next step, the redefined beliefs will consequently produce the corresponding essential virtues. Charity, loving my neighbor as I love myself. Taking the authenticity to the dimension of feeling. So now I don't just know that prejudice is wrong. I understand and I feel it's wrong. And that's going to reflect in my actions, in my existing, the dimension of the existing. With the redefinition of the limiting beliefs and the effort to develop the essential virtues, the person gradually frees themselves from the lies and hypocrisy, overcoming the persona and becoming authentic, existentially nourishing the truth that they are an immortal spirit, apprentice of life at the evolutionary moment they are in, not behind, not ahead. We love to compare ourselves to other people. Oh, but you're more evolved than me. We are where we are. We are where we are supposed to be as a result of all of our actions from the moment we were created until now. We're not behind, we're not ahead. We are at our own time. We can decide to go faster from now on. Definitely, no question about it. But comparing ourselves to others is useless because we are a result of our own actions and nobody else has anything to do with it. So on their way to the certain destination of becoming a Christly spirit, a pure spirit like Christ, one with God, like Jesus, our model and guide. So let's ask again. How do I feel when I'm facing my mistakes? So after everything, and we don't need to answer, it's for us to reflect. Based on everything we saw here, how do I feel when facing my mistakes? Based on everything we saw, how should I feel when facing my mistakes? And is it the same how I feel and how I should feel? So that's something for us to reflect. Am I doing what I should? Am I where I should? Now this one we can answer. When am I going to feel like that? When am I going to feel the way I should feel? Like God's child, an apprentice of life, an immortal spirit evolving. Tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, right now, just because we just saw this. When?
Just to answer. Or just to reflect.
That one is to answer.
The last one, right?
Yeah, the last one. When? When am I gonna feel like that? When am I gonna feel like an apprentice of life?
To develop the divine laws and develop the virtues.
Fully, they have to be fully developed. I need to be a spirit like Christ, a pure spirit.
Step by step, we are going up and up and growing.
When we, not when, but as we develop self-conscious, self-awareness. One moment I am going to feel the way I should be feeling, apprentice of life, God's child. Another moment I may not. And then we go back to the drawing board. Reflection, reflection, reflection. All right? Any questions before the kids come in to show us what they have? No? Thank you very much for listening.
All right, guys, come in.
Não, você tá tirando a câmera, né? Tá tirando a câmera? Tanto faz, então.
Tanto faz? Então vamos falar em português. Então, hoje as crianças estudaram sobre autenticidade, foi o último dia da virtude da autenticidade do mês, e estudamos a importância de